Ricky can say what he wants to, I guess. I mean, I'm sure he would. I mean, that's one thing they start pretty early, isn't it? Start playing mind games. You start saying things uh, with a few months to go or even a year to go or something. Yeah, Australia, I mean, I think it's one of the biggest test rivalries there is. I mean, obviously, Ashes would be there. And I think along with Ashes, India, Australia is the other big test rivalry where India's had a really good run, like you mentioned. And I think it's going to be, again, a tough one, a very keenly contested test series. No two ways about it. Obviously, Australia hasn't won too many of late, but then that does not mean that they're not going to be pushovers. They weren't pushovers even last few times either. So yeah, I think it's going to be a close one. India have the upper hand? I think India would have that confidence of having been to Australia last couple of times and beating Australia in Australia, because one of the biggest challenges when you travel abroad and especially to Australia is it's not just the opposition, which is the Australian players, but tour well as a team, tour the country well, different venues. So there won't be too many negative in terms of baggages that this team would carry to Australia. So I think, yeah, that would be a huge, huge advantage. And I see it being really, really competitive. I think both the teams go in with 50-50. I don't think Australia, even being the host, would have an advantage there. So I think it's going to be keenly contested. And I think 3-1, I mean, listen, Ricky can say what he wants to, I guess. I mean, I'm sure he would. I mean, that's one thing they start pretty early, isn't it? Start playing mind games. You start saying things uh, with a few months to go or even a year to go or something. But I think both the teams are equally balanced. There are some new young Australian players coming through. Some of them might not be as established. I think for India, the biggest challenge right now is to make sure the bowling unit, which has been very, very important in terms of India's success in the last few years outside India. It's important to make sure the bowlers are all ready and set to go. When it's a longer series, I mean, it's always better than two test match series or three test match, especially for the touring side, because at times and it's not like earlier days where you would go out there when you're traveling and play a few side games and prepare. You don't have that kind of time anymore. So you might end up taking some time getting yourself into the series. And I think that's where longer series helps the touring side. Even the last two series, India did not start off well, the series, got into the series, right? Because it was a longer series. India had the time to get into the series. So I think it would only help. Yes, the difference between 4 and 5 is obviously the duration is longer. You're staying away from home. You're in that, high pressure environment for longer. But I think, I don't see that as a disadvantage. I see that as an advantage, to be honest.